Do we stick to whatever we prepared before, or what's happening now?
Well, you can see straight away on your screens, Anivia, Kha'Zix, Thresh, and Jarvan the Fourth all banned away. Of course, Shen was available in the last game, didn't get picked, which did surprise us a little bit there. Rumble was chosen instead, but like they mentioned, you know, they absolutely crucified Godbro, really, because he was just 3 levels behind the entire game until he finally caught up, but then it didn't matter because he was already bullied out of the game.
Yeah, there was nothing that he could do. They couldn't resurrect his particular play in that fight, and you know, the early game aggression from Evil Geniuses was just very good. They zoned him out in that 2v1. They prevented him from becoming a factor. Shen is still available in this particular game, and we'll see if they want to lock him in. Zed was banned out, so I'm just trying to see. So is... No, Jarvan Spor's gone as well. So,
yeah, and straight away we see Varus getting locked in as the first champion, so both the Tess and Yellow Pete sort of really want that champion, so we'll see what changes come about from Yellow Pete, and of course Evil Geniuses with their 2 picks. What will they go with this time around? Is it going to be a Rumble for Wicked?
It's a possibility. It could even be Zach. He's still available in the pool as well. Another one, that the ban that was in the last game that's now available is Kassadin. Now, of course, you're not going to pick Kassadin super early in this matchup. So, you know, if Bjergsen wants to play him, expect him later down the line. If Zach is locked in here, what the Evil Geniuses could do is they could do a mind swap, and they can say, well, now we're going to give him to Snoopy in the jungle. And you've got that doubt that plays in your mind. Whenever you see Elise being played, it's a similar situation. And Elise is another champion that we could see selected if you know, Crepper wanted to play him.
I'm glad you referred to it as a mind swap, because I'd have called it something else. But right now, it is going to be potentially Yellow Pete back on Cogmore. Wow, that's something we've not seen for a while. Of course, with Jarvan the Fourth away from this one, actually does work as a pick. He has got Cleanse and Flash available. I tell a lie, that's Snoopy.
So yeah, Snoopy, Flash, and Smite. We'll see once he gets to that Flash Cleanse, which is pretty standard. If he is going to be playing Cogmore, I would expect some form of safety type of support. So they could go either a kill lane, somebody like a Leona or an Elise, for example, that you can get very aggressive very early. In addition, the range from the Biochem Barrage is going to shut down any 2v1 lane. So whoever Godbro does decide to lock in is going to be in a lot of difficulty against that immense range. We've seen Zyra in the previous game. Zyra Cogmore can also be very good. But Shen is there, and got to be thinking, surely this is what the Copenhagen Wolves are talking about. Do we want Shen? Do we want that ninja or not?
Well, how's doubt been put in the mind of Sunskoran as well? Will he go with Nasus again, or will he switch across to Xin Zhao? That's worked out well from him in the past. And of course, he's got a 50-50 play record on Xin Zhao. And Nautilus, of course, who did have those buffs recently in the latest patch, has been selected a few times by a couple of the junglers. Looks like he's going to go towards that route. So the return of the... I don't even know what his actual lore name is.
I'm not actually quite sure on the lore name either.
I don't know.
So Nautilus, you know, he received a bit of a buff. There was a couple of questions on Reddit. This is 3.5 balance. It's exactly the same as live. The only difference is that Zac and Karma are enabled. And Nautilus got additional armor. He went from 15 to 19 at base, and his shield had a reduced cooldown. That was it. Just that small difference, and all of a sudden it's made him viable. We've seen him in the LCS previously. He's a very powerful ganker, and we giggle every time he picks up Boots of Mobility and hops across the battlefield because he's so top-heavy. Do legs at gym, man. You look a bit top-heavy, like a carrot.
Everybody skips legs at gym. That's a standard thing. Everybody does skip the legs.
It shows.
But we do see the return of the cow. So it's going to be Alistair being selected. That should be Crepo, of course, and Volibear. So we have the mixed grill right now on the screens, and we'll see how this one progresses. Could we get... No, we won't get Bird to finish off. Oh.
No, Bird, unfortunately, is not available this time around. So I like the lock-in. We've seen Snoopy on Volibear before. He's very strong on Volibear, offers a lot in terms of his ganks and survivability. Also, the Alistair combo, there's some great peel that can come around from Alistair, being able to knock people away as well as knock them up. And when you consider that that's how the engages come from Nautilus, he's going to be trying to pull himself into an engagement. You can zone him out quite well. Does look like Kassadin's being hovered over for the Copenhagen Wolves. It was banned out in the last game, and we've seen what Bjergsen can do with Kassadin.
Yeah, of course, Copenhagen Wolves talking to us before, saying EG don't want Kassadin through. It did escape the bans this time around because they had to put it on towards Anivia, which meant the Evil Geniuses didn't ban towards it, and maybe, just maybe, there is a counter towards it. We'll see who it is because Defigio hasn't gone with it just yet. We'll see. Yes, it has been locked in for Bjergsen, and there is the Shen as well for Godbro. Strong team from the Copenhagen Wolves here. What will EG go with for the mid lane?
There's one problem with the Copenhagen Wolves. All of the damage is focused in the Tess and in Bjergsen. If they get focused down and taken out of a team fight, Shen and Nautilus are going to have a hard time trying to clean up. So they're going to be very reliant on the shield, the Wild Growth, the Stand United to protect those particular players. What it is, though, is a standard Copenhagen Wolves composition that we've been seeing for many weeks. Allow Svenskeren to just run in there, smash into the enemy team, and then let Godbro come in from behind with that Stand United.
Yeah, indeed. It's, like you mentioned, the fact that they have got multiple abilities to all be in the same place at the same time, that bottom lane would be a scary place to be, I think, for Yellow Pete on Kog'Maw, because he will almost certainly be the dive target. The question is, what will we get from Crepo at the moment? Is it going to be Kale? I thought Lux is available, but Kale seems to suit the team better. Definitely, the fact that he can make someone invulnerable on the team works out very wonders. Could it be Wicked leaping in? Could it be Snoopy or Yellow Pete, sorry, at the back on Kog'Maw?
Now, that's exactly the thing that works very well. You tend to see Kales against sort of bursty types of compositions, people who can just instantly delete somebody from a map. You pop that intervention on them, you protect them. The thing that works great about Kale in this composition is once Zac dives in there, or if Snoopy runs in there, you can put it on them, and they can just run through unhindered as far as damage is concerned. It's not going to block crowd control, though, so keep in mind that, taunt slows, glitter lances, things like that, it will play into their favor. Expect practically everybody from Evil Geniuses to pick up boots of mobility. It's what they've done the last time they played against the Lulu comp, it's what they did earlier today, and it's something that as a team, they're sort of pioneering.
And you know what I like to see? A little bit of irony, a little quirk of irony. The fact that Snoopy's now running Ghost and not Flash, despite the fact he was the one man that championed Flash on Volibear.
So we'll see how this pans out. Again, probably plays into the favor that if he gets those mobility boots, he can run around. And it's also to balance out the fact that he's Rolling Thunder, slightly weaker at lower ranks. So it will allow him to chase for longer against teams that once their slows are gone. Smaller team. If we lose this, we don't know what our future is. If EG lose, they have the ability to stick around a few more months and maybe re-qualify later down the line. For the Wolves, this is all or nothing for them right now. They do have a lot of damage and they've got a composition that can make plays happen, but they cannot afford to fall behind early. Once again, we see Evil Geniuses grouped up as a 5-man, this time around towards the blue buff. So expect either a steal or maybe even some early aggression onto the Copenhagen Wolves players.
Well, the banana ward goes in and Evil Genius is moving as a unit. Go down towards the Wraiths and try and get the wards in there. You can see Svenskeren and Deficio are ready and waiting though. King's already down. Deficio throws down his Explorer ward to just give him a little bit of vision. See whether Evil Geniuses do make a move for this one. They put the ping ward down and they can see it straight away and get themselves a little bit of gold.
So we'll see how they determine these lanes right now. At the moment, it is going to be a straight up head-to-head 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 in the top and the bottom lanes. And it's not something we see all that often anymore. And I definitely like to see how Yellow Pete, decides to play against the Tess. Kog'Maw needs a couple of levels before he really becomes, really a good bully in lane, gets great range on that Bio Arcane. If the Tess and Deficio are able to poke him down a little bit early, it might help them out a lot in that particular matchup.
So, as it stands, we are going to have a 1-to-1 on the top lane, and the duo lanes will be against each other. So, standard meta setup here for the Copenhagen Wolves versus Evil Geniuses. Froggen, of course, going to be helping out that top lane. Looking like it's going to be the Golems going across to, I think, the Wicked, maybe. A bit of a joint experience there. Both of them stuck around that one. It was Froggen that pulled away from it, so he didn't help out. And instead, it's going to be Wicked helping out heavily on that red, which means it's going to be a smiteless red by the looks of it. Copenhagen Wolves looking to do exactly the same way. The Tess and Deficio helping out Svenskeren. So they will be moving both towards their blue buffs, respectively, with Smite available.
So we'll see how this top lane does decide, match up. The fact that Wicked has that additional experience is definitely going to be helping him out in that lane. And I want to see this matchup because it's one that, we've never seen it before in competitive LCS. Shen versus Zac, the percentage HP damage that Zac is putting down may actually be enough to get through the feint and that Vorpal Blade passive that Godbro has. So we'll see how this pans out as it goes. But as we see Snoopy, he actually used his smite on that red buff as he's rolled around down to blue.
Wicked versus Godbro. We'll keep our eyes on that one. It could be a while. I normally do say it's two greased up fat ladies in that top lane. In this case, it really is a greased up fat Wicked.
Yeah, and that particular greased up Wicked, some interesting numbers on his abilities. They all cost 4% of his current health, with the exception of his ultimate, which is free. And when he sheds those little blobs, they'll heal him for 4% of his maximum health. So you can actually get more health back than it cost to spend the ability. We'll see how that helps him in terms of sustaining in lane. At the moment, though, Volibear is moving down towards the bottom. Ghost is available. Expect him to Ghost and Rolling Thunder in. He has just snuck in, so I don't think the Wolves are aware of this. And bears eat wolves in the jungle. Can they do it in lane? No, because they've seen him coming.
A ward straight away put on there. It was a very nice move from Krepo to actually bully them back away there, force the test away, bought the time for Snoopy to get in there, but they suspected it was happening straight away. We do see the shadow dash from Godbro on towards the top lane, but Wicked is actually putting the pressure down on that top lane. Mid lane wise, you can see it's 16-9 so far. Froggen starting to win out the early CS battle as you would expect, because Kassadin will have a bit of a tough time early levels against Kayle.
Especially as soon as Kayle activates that ranged ability of hers, you know, and just splashes the damage down onto you. The moment Froggen is maxing his Q, as is customary on Kayle's in the mid lane, and I'd like to see how he decides to itemize. If he is going to go for that Nash's Tooth first into something like a Lich Bane, or if he's going to go straight for ability power, which is something we've seen Alex doing a couple of times. Svenskeren on the giant Nautilus has snuck himself into this bottom lane. There's the shield up, and can he get the hook?
He does manage to land the hook on this Krepo though, and he's just going to put the crate straight pound the floor and say nope, walking away. This time he flashed though, so Flash was burned. Snoopy though also sneaking in towards that top bush, hasn't quite got the ability to sneak across the bushes because that minion needs to go down, and Wicked's not exactly gonna take his time on this one, tries to bait Godbro to diving in towards him.
So Wicked's been playing very aggressive in the top lane for the entirety of this matchup. Both champions went both some pots, and can they catch Godbro?
Oh, he gets the slow and forces the flash away from Godbro, so in terms of Gank's success was used, although saying that, Snoopy used his Ghost for that gank as well, so kind of both burning their abilities.
Yeah, so they traded Summoner Spell for Summoner Spell. Very importantly was how they comboed it. I really like the fact that they allowed Wicked to get that stretching strike, get the slowdown, then allow Volibear to get his roar and get that slowdown and try to get the flip. If there was no flash available, they would have picked it up. So good coordinated play from the two of them, as you would expect at this level. We did see Svenskeren in the bottom lane for a brief moment, but he decided to back away and just carry on farming because there's a lot of minions here, and you know, obviously EG were playing very defensive.
Well, there's a lot of minions in there, and how worrying is it, the fact that the Tess is not being able to just, you know, put an advantage over himself, over Yellow Pete, because the fact that, you know, he is on Cogmore and he's keeping up in CS, it's got to be a bit of a worry for Varus.
Yeah, it's very, very good for Yellow Pete and for Krepo, who've been playing well. We did see Krepo running a fair amount of interference in the lane. He was trying to zone out the Copenhagen Wolves. So, you know, if you're running a little bit scared of that headbutt pulverize combo, you are going to miss a couple of creeps. 7 at the moment, it is a difference, but if it continues to grow, that's where the problem comes into play. We do see Svenskeren setting up around the side, and Froggen does not have intervention, but level 6 was just picked up by Bjergsen. Can they get in there?
Well, he's not going to be able to catch on towards this one, and while that was happening, the big wolves are going to go in. They do try and get a burst of damage on towards Froggen, but that was kind of countered pretty heavily on towards Svenskeren, taking 2 tower hits.
Yeah, so he dropped a little bit of HP, but Froggen with no potions left and no charges on that crystalline flask means he's actually at a disadvantage down there mid lane. And with Bjergsen having that Riftwalk available, he's just going to be jumping in and out of the void, dealing all the damage that he can, and obviously trying to force out that intervention.
Yellow Pete continuing that farm, actually winning out the farm right now because the test has pushed a little bit heavily on there, and you can see it's a 10 CS gap for Yellow Pete right now. That is a big, big problem for the test.
It'll probably be even up with this particular wave if you look at the fact that there's about 6 there in favor of 3, but he's keeping it at that 7 to 10 bracket. It's when it falls further behind that it's going to be very problematic. So it's not too bad right now. Once both of the AD carries decide to back and spend their money, that's when we'll start seeing how it grows, because of course the arms race begins and you need to stay within touching distance of your lane opponent to be able to trade evenly and stay on par. You can see there's a 20 gold difference between them right now.
Yep. Yellow Pete thought about backing, didn't want to go. Instead, it seems to be the test that may well back off along with Deficio. Back in his top lane though, you can see it's Wicked with the smallest of advantages building up. He's been trying to bully out Godbro. Didn't buy any items early on, of course. Just came in with a couple of potions. Didn't see whether he didn't have red pot, did he, early on? I didn't actually remember whether he had it early on, but as it stands, he certainly hasn't got it right now because he's only got those 5 health pots. Snoopy, meanwhile, over on that red buff, he's been farming out quite nicely while Svenskeren's been trying to make some plays. We saw him come in and steal away the large wolf away from Svenskeren's jungle. Now both are going to have the red buff, so we'll see if they can make any plays right now. It doesn't look like anything's going to come from it.
So what we do see in terms of items, you know, talking about them, both of our AD carries are returning. into lane, and you've actually got a boots extra in the hands of the test, whereas Yellow Beats decided to go for wards. So I think Evil Geniuses want to extend this laning phase. Their team is going to scale so incredibly well. Zach is just going to get tankier and rely on his base percentage damage to deal a lot of DPS in the matchup. Kayle obviously is going to scale great into the end game, and everybody knows how well Kog'Maw will, eventually get to that can kill anything point. And if EG can just extend this laning phase and farm up to that point sooner, all the better for them.
Well, good guy Yellow Pete comes back with 2 wards, while Grabo doesn't. As simply as that. I think he's just placed the wards out already, that's why. He always pulls me up for that. It's like, I already placed them, that's why I didn't have them in my bag. Look at the map. And they are actually down. Well, I was saying that there's just the one. That's all that's down there.
Yeah, so there's one in the grass, one in the river. We'll see how this, pans out for them. Krepo's sitting on close to 1,000 gold, so he may be wanting to go back and pick up some GP10s or something along those lines. At the moment, the Copenhagen Wolves are keeping themselves in this game really, really well. The only lane that's losing in CS is top, and that is because of the early game power that Zach is going to have over Shen. Svenskeren has found out the bear in the woods, and he's going to pick a fight.
Yeah, and he's going to pick a fight, and he may well take the large raid. No, he's not. Snoopy comes back in and smites it.
Yeah, very, very well played there. And the mid lane intervention is down, and Froggen's used that ultimate for nothing, really.
Yeah, I think he was expecting Bjergsen to maybe engage there, and that might be advantage Bjergsen. He's going to know he's going to be down for a short while. We already see Froggen backing away from this one. He knows that it's going to be Svenskeren around the bush, and it's Svenskeren that finds him. He knows intervention's down. Will he get Bjergsen come and chase? No, they're not going to go engage.
So Froggen's just going to return back to the lane. Bjergsen was able to psych out that ultimate perfectly, and he actually had the CS advantage because that very big wave was actually pushing against Froggen. So well played on him to pull back that early advantage. Catalyst and tier completed means sustain in lane is going to be, very helpful for Bjergsen, and we haven't even pointed out that he's sitting on a teleport as well. So he's not actually looking to kill Froggen in a straight up 1v1. He wants to help out his lanes when these fights break out. And imagine a Stand United teleport Kassadin gank coming in. It's going to be very difficult to deal with indeed.
Well, we see Froggen with that blue buff, and he immediately gets spotted out by that warding banana. So he was thinking of going down bottom, but pings went straight down there. And the mobility that Copenhagen Wolves have, it may well catch EG out on the hop, because you say you've got the Stand United, you've got the teleport from Bjergsen. Bjergsen is mobile enough on Kassadin, but with that teleport, he's going to be a scary, scary thing when the fights start happening and the roaming begins.
What it also means is that tower pushing strat we've seen from Evil Geniuses will be a little bit easier to counter as well. Having the mobility of that teleport and the Stand United means they'll be able to respond when they have a numbers disadvantage. Godbro's been forced to about half health in this top lane. There's a very big wave pushing against him. And look at the positioning of Snoopy. He's in that grass. He has his ghost available, and they may decide to go for this dive.
Well, we do see the long-range striking coming out from Wicked there, poking Godbro and dodging the turret hits. You can see he keeps on lashing in towards him, trying to get some damage down towards Godbro to prevent that passive. And now he's backing openly in the lane, which is Godbro's like, yeah, this is definitely a bait.
He does manage to get away with his life. Both of those top laners have yet to go back and spend any of their money just yet. So, that is quite interesting that after 12 minutes in the game, nobody spent their money. But we do see Copenhagen Wolves applying pressure now on the Dragon. Stand United is available, and this is a 4-man Wolves with vision and positional advantage. So a free Dragon for them, doing very, very well indeed.
Yeah, very easy, successful Dragon as well. The ward was there, but you can see there's not a great deal that Evil Geniuses could do about that one. So they're looking strong early on here. Snoopy does show himself now, and Godbro, remember, he had got that Shadow Dash. If anyone gets too close to that turret, they will take at least 2 or 3 tower hits if he catches onto him.
Yeah, so good play from Godbro. He was able to sort of cycle him out a little bit. He pulled enough attention to allow the rest of the Wolves to pick up Dragon, and they did this in the previous game as well. They did very, very well in that matchup, controlling the first 2 or 3 Dragons, and it was only once they lost positional advantage in their Dragon, in their jungle, that they lost control of a Dragon. So if they can continue that with even towers, they're obviously going to pull ahead as far as gold is concerned.
So let's look across this AD lane. You can see Krepo is doing his best to keep them at bay. The ultimates are available for both AD carries. And as it stands, Krepo yet to go for one of those headbutt pulverizes. And of course, Svenskeren is going to get spotted out by that ward that just timed out at the right moment there. So they did see him sneaking in there. Don't expect Krepo or Yellow Pete to go too aggressive for a while.
No, they're well aware of that, and both of them having their flashes available means it's going to be quite difficult to pick up any kills. So, going to be able to at least just stay relatively safe. We do see some differences in item purchases in the top lane. Sunfire K picked up for Wicked along with Boots, and for Godbro, he's gone for the Mercury Treads as well as the makings of a Warmogs right now. So interesting differences of approaches. Shen feeling that he needs a little bit more mobility to deal with Zach in that lane, get out of range of that unstable matter explosion, the W from Zach, and just try to keep himself a little bit healthier in lane.
So as it stands, the goal difference, of course, is simply down to Copenhagen Wolves picking up that Dragon, looking across the Wicked. Meanwhile, that will start balancing itself out with those waves get cleared, which is exactly what you can see on your screen right now. In the mid lane, very close between them, and the bottom lane, it's just slight advantages to the test right now, but that's also because of a little bit of a wave clear difference between the two. So very, very close game so far in the opening 14 minutes of the game, and no clear advantages given to anyone so far. I feel it's going to be all about the next Dragon spawn.
Yeah, I can tend to agree with that. It could be around one of the buffs, or of the Copenhagen Wolves blue buff in the previous game, and it's more important against a Kassadin than it is against an Ari. So once we start seeing the first tower going down, or a little bit more roaming from these two teams, I think we could have a battle around the blue buff, or of course that battle around the Dragon. But like you said, it's just been a very, very passive farming game. Both teams scale very, very well, and it's going to be down to the Copenhagen Wolves showing, can they protect their Kassadin and Varus in these team fights? Because if not, there's not a lot of damage to close out after that.
We do continue the farming session. 15 minutes gone in this game, of course. Remember, this is the spring playoffs. $100,000 up for grabs between these teams, and this is the quarterfinals. Of course, SK versus AAA is the other quarterfinal. Gambit and Fnatic, they were the top two seeds. They are waiting in the wings in the semi-finals, which will be happening tomorrow between these teams. Of course, waiting to see who will win this one will be Fnatic, so they're keeping a close eye on this match, of course. Don't forget, whoever gets knocked out of this will go down to the promotion relegation matches, those amateur matches. That will be happening next weekend, of course, the summer promotion series, to see who will stay in towards the LCS. Would it be one of these teams? They will go down in towards it. Whoever the loser is, they'll fall in towards the, I don't know whether you could call it second round or not too sure. Yeah, basically the LCS round. If you win those matches, you're back in the LCS. Correct. There's 4 places up for grabs in that tournament. Of course, that's next week though, so we don't really care about that right now because we want to focus on the playoffs. $100,000 up for grabs, and that splits across $50,000 for the winner, $25,000 for second, $15,000 for third, and $10,000 for fourth.
And of course, the winner of this one, guaranteed spot in the summer split. So we'll see, who the victor is. Before we get to any of that, Copenhagen Wolves need to win this one to stay alive, to stay in the tournament. If not, obviously, EG will be booking their ticket 2-0 to make it to the semi-final playoffs. This game is, the only difference is the Dragon that the Copenhagen Wolves picked up a couple of minutes ago, and it's showing in that very, very small gold lead. We've seen a little bit of pressure from both Svenskeren and Snoopy in the lanes, and this is the first time we've seen a large number of champions around this mid lane. Svenskeren is in position, and he may be able to fend off this gank if we see that slingshot coming in from Wicked.
Well, we saw Svenskeren going aggressive, missing out on the backside of the bear. There's a lot of ground to catch there. Wards come out, Crepo. Fisher not going to get the reset on that one. So instead, he doesn't manage to pick it up. The AD carries continue to battle back and forth in this bottom lane, but it's really all about the jungle so far. And it is going to be Snoopy or Svenskeren that I feel are going to be the telling difference when the fight happens. And
Svenskeren has been CSing more effectively than Snoopy, so he's got additional gold. And with that ward that we just seen going down from Crepo, they're showing that they're aware Dragon is coming up. That's a 3-minute ward, and obviously they're getting vision as they know, Dragon was coming up in the next sort of 3 minutes. And it does signal that Evil Geniuses may decide to contest for it. When we've seen EG going for Drakes, we do see Wicked moving down from that top lane. So if he starts to move in the next 20 or 30 seconds, they will be picking a fight. Right now, he's sitting with a bear, and they want to pick a fight on Godbro.
Let's see if that bear cares, though. Wicked comes launching out of the bush this time. We do see Snoopy coming out there, and they may well think about diving this turret or really being aggressive because the turret hasn't got a great deal of hit points on it. You see Godbro, he wants to get a Shadow Dash on someone. Teleport coming in as well. That means Bjergsen's is going to come in there, but well, Flash comes out from Wicked to dodge out of that Shadow Dash, and that's going to be a successful escape. Now, meanwhile, we see the aggression down the bottom. Pulverize landing on towards Deficio, and look at that damage coming out from Yellowpea already.
So Flash is burned in the bottom lane. The Tess is out. They traded a teleport for a Flash in the top lane, and the fact that Dragon is now alive, the damage onto the Tess and Deficio may cost them that objective. They may not be able to stick around or challenge for that. So they're going to be relying on Stand United from Shen to join the party and keep them alive. Snoopy is still up there in that top lane with Ghost available if they want to go for it. But the amount of pressure that Wicked has put onto Godbro, he's got a sizable CS lead and such a great damage advantage on that tower. Any moment EG decide they want to take the tower down, they'll be able to.
The Tribush ward just ran out. See where the Bjergsen goes for it. I don't know whether they have known that there's vision. Instead, it looks like he's going to sneak in towards this bottom bush, which is why the Tess is trying desperately to push that lane across. But there is a ward in that bottom lane, which is where the Bjergsen, he needs to come around from the Tribush. No, just saw Crepo. Look at that clever placing. Warded both of them up the moment that Tribush ward went.
So he's going to have vision in the river. Immediately, Bjergsen's going to step on vision here, and EG going to say, back off, back off, back off. And you can see they're running a mile away. They do not want to fall victim of a Rift Walk Shadow Dash taunt from that Kassadin and Shen combo. But the fact that Bjergsen is down there, look at Sven, he rolls around to the dragon, but here is an intention from Froggen. He's moving towards this area as well. So Evil Geniuses may try to contest, not going to back away instead.
No, they're actually going to push the towers. Remember that top tower, very, very low. Snoopy's actually trying to put pressure on the mid turret. He's going to have Froggen come around to try and help him shove it towards it. And both towers, really top and middle, are very, very low right now. And actually, it's the Wolves. They're starting to turn their pressure towards the middle, but immediately, Bjergsen's like, damn, we're losing the mid turret. I've got to get in there and fight. Svenskeren, though, you can see Stand United coming out. They're going to try and catch on towards Snoopy. Intervention comes out there. Flash Shadow Dash, not going to land. They do manage to get the bounce on towards Snoopy with the ultimate from Svenskeren. They will manage to take the bear down, and that is finally going to be first blood in the game. Nearly 20 minutes gone.
So they secure first blood and a dragon, but lose 2 towers in the process. Evil Geniuses will be relatively happy with that trade because the towers is going to give them control and objectives, especially this blue buff, and they are going to want to deny it from Bjergsen. Bjergsen is 20-odd CS behind, but he played very, very well in the mid lane, burned his flash just to get in range for both that Null Spear and Force Pulse. But he did secure first blood, and that is what matters. And there's the ultimate on Yellow Pete.
Well, 2 towers are down, and there's the Blade of the Rune King on towards Yellow Pete. He is going to get caught out. That's going to be a kill. No, he's got away with it with the barrier, and they turn their attention towards Crepo. Of course, he's going to go down. He's not going to be unstoppable for much longer, and it's going to be the Godbro that picks that one up. And, well, Yellow Pete does manage to survive. They left him because they thought he was dead.
Yeah, they definitely didn't think he was going to get away, but luckily the flash barrier was enough to save his life. Another great dodge of the Shadow Dash in the mid lane, and then we've seen a good flash out of Yellow Pete to stay alive in that bottom lane. But they did get Alistair, and the kill went to Godbro, who is falling behind at the moment. We've seen him building Trinity Force on Shen a number of times in the Spring Split already, and it looks like he's going into it after the Sunfire Cave.
Godbro going in towards Snoopy as well. He's going to get the Shadow Dash across. I don't think he's going to have the damage here, but he's certainly going to cause problems for Snoopy when he thought he had a little bit of free farm there. Now Bjergsen actually being pursued by Froggen. Throws down that ward, and Bjergsen just riff walks away. And
look at Bjergsen's build. He's got double blasting ward, Rod of H's, as well as Tear of the Goddess. So he wants power, and he wants power now. On his flip side, we see Froggen. He's gone for a needlessly large rod after getting that Nash's Tooth. So there's a number of ways you can build Kale. It looks like he wants to go for that very bursty, ability power heavy build. He's roaming towards this bottom lane. As you can see, Godbro is still in lane. The fact his tower's gone means he's holding it in place. Now his tower is alive, and here comes Froggen from behind.
He's done enough to bait him, to hold him in there. Snoopy's done the job, and now it's going to be up to Froggen to come around and finish it off. Godbro's in there. He's going to have the reset back on towards that flip. Will push him towards him. Shadow Dash comes across, catches on towards Froggen. Intervention on towards the tower damage. Can he get away from this one? No, he can't. But the rest of the turnaround could come from the Copenhagen Wolves. Yellow Pete comes back in towards Svenskeren. Froggen's taking another tower. He's going to be taken so low. Heals himself up. Glitterlance comes out from Diffusio behind. There comes Bjergsen, gets in there. Yellow Pete's going to get taken, turned into a cupcake, and finally taken down. And now Diffusio pursuing on towards Crepo. Have they got the ability? The Glitterlance has to come out here. Here comes Wicked from the side, though. He's going to chase in towards it. Bjergsen immediately gets the slowdown on towards him, and they back away from it. 2 for 1, Evil Geniuses.
Crepo did such a good job there on Alistair. He zoned out members of the Wolves in the lane, knocked them back. He played that meat shield. Yes, Yellow Pete went down, but I think he stuck around a little bit too long under the tower. So great play from Copenhagen Wolves to balance it out. But Evil Geniuses come out better, losing only 1 for 2, and obviously all the positioning on that bottom lane.
So, great fight for Evil Geniuses this time around, and it's still just a 2,000 gold difference. It's Copenhagen Wolves with the advantage, though. course, that is only a gold advantage because they are down in the turrets right now to the Copenhagen Wolves, to Evil Geniuses, sorry, who did manage to take that top and middle while the Dragon was being picked up. Deficio, he's playing with fire right now on Wicked because he could just launch himself on towards Deficio at any given time. Crepo, of course, waiting in the wings in that bush. We're going to see whether Wicked, yes, he is. He's just put the tri-bush ward down, hasn't backed away just yet.
Waiting in the wings. It's a pity he's not a Red Bull. Nevertheless, he's been doing well this game so far. And the one thing that we did notice about that bottom lane engagement, it gave a little bit of extra gold there to Bjergsen. Deficio has been caught.
Deficio has to use Wild Growth, but where you can see Wicked, he's letting it bounce. Can he get on towards him? And now he's in all sorts of trouble. Teleport comes in, Bjergsen comes down, and he is going to be eliminated.
Now there's the little bloblets being squashed. They're going to allow the final killing blow to go to Bjergsen. He finished off his Sorcerer's Shoes. That's the third kill of the game of 4 for the Copenhagen Wolves. And you don't want to feed a Kassadin. If he gets into that position that he can burst somebody down before intervention is even available, it's obviously a great position for them. And it's the reason Kassadin was banned in game 1.
We saw a godlike Alex Hitch just last week, and miscommunications showing when the double wards go down.
And it happened the previous game as well. We were sitting on the EG, we were watching them in the river, and they placed 2 wards next to each other. So tension is running high. This game means a lot to them. Bjergsen is a little bit overextended. He's about to find 4 members of Evil Geniuses. They know that he's there, and here comes Crepo.
He's going to come around. Can he get the headbutt pole race? No, he rift walk away before he even got close. And now Evil Genius is in trouble. They're trapped. They're trapped inside Copenhagen Wolves net. The Wolves are engaging on towards Evil Geniuses. Shadow Dash crotches onto 3 members. Intervention goes down on towards Yellow Pete. Is it going to be enough to turn it around? Godbro is going to flash away. He's managed to avoid the damage. Snoopy gets taken down. He does manage to get on towards Svenskeren, but the rest of Evil Geniuses, they are trying to get away from this scary, scary trap. The Wolves have fangs, and they have the scent on Crepo.
So they're going to be carry on chasing the bull into the jungle. The Test does have his ultimate available. It was not there in that previous fight. Look at Bjergsen. He wants to chase Crepo down, but the rest of Evil Genius is there. What a great flash.
He does manage to get around there, but he can see he's going to get caught out. You can see Wicked come jumping straight in. The headbutt comes out around, and now Evil Genius is in full defensive duty, helping out their support player. They managed to make it stick, and it was just a 1-for-1. Both junglers going down.
Such fantastic positional play from Crepo. He ran between the turrets. He flashed over the wall. If he'd got a Pulverize down, Evil Geniuses may have committed to that fight, but instead, he just knocked Bjergsen away. It does mean that they now have the position on Dragon, but the Wolves are relatively close by. If they reacted quick enough, they could fight, but I don't think they'll be able to get there in time. Boots of Mobility Nautilus is running in, but it will be gone by the time they get there. And EG pick up their first Dragon of the game. Great, great play. They did lose the fight a little bit, but they got position, and they've caught out Wicked.
They've got the hook on towards Wicked. He should be able to slingshot him away, but no, he's going to get silenced out. Intervention comes out once again from Bruggen. They're going to turn this back around, and Svenskeren goes down. Chain of Corruption lands, though. The Test comes in on this one. Snoopy's in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get chased in there. Wild Growth on towards Bjergsen. Godbro across all members of Evil Geniuses. It's a double kill for him. Test also picks up a kill. They're going to get on towards it. Hail of Arrows catches on towards Yellow Pete. He gets taken down. Can they get another kill on towards Wicked? Boom. It's a triple kill. The explosive, I can't even remember, the Cathian surprise, that's the word I'm looking for, does manage to pick up a kill, but it's a 4-for-2 to the Copenhagen Wolves.
Great reaction there for the Wolves to be in the right place to pick that fight. They may have been a tiny bit overzealous going a tiny bit early, but it worked out for the best. They got 4 kills out of it. They got the mid turret. They're probably going to get this inner mid turret as well. And the Test is untouched. Through that entire fight, he did not take a point of damage. So great, great play defending him. Wicked is thinking about diving in. He's charged up the slingshot, and he doesn't jump in this time.
No, that would be a dangerous, dangerous jump. And really, you know, you look back at that, that was the fight right there. The chain of corruption from the Test, followed by Godbro's Shadow Dash, it just locked up 4 members of Evil Geniuses for so long in that fight. They had no chance at coming back on that one. So Copenhagen Wolves, they are 9-5 up in kills right now. They have a 4,000 gold advantage, equal in turrets as well. Very much advantage with the Wolves.
And Godbro is building his Trinity Force as his second big item. He has Phage completed along with Zeal. It's something that we've seen him doing before. It's also something we've seen Wicked doing before as well, but he rushed the Trinity Force fairly early. One of the most recent times he played Shen. So we'll see how this build plays out right now. But at the moment, 9-5 in kills, a 4,000 gold lead in favor of the Copenhagen Wolves. They are somewhat in the driving seat. Of course, Stand United is available for Godbro, so expect to see another one of those fights with Stand United piggybacking on one of the Wolves.
Well, most people have to work 9 till 5, but not these players. They work all hours of the day to keep themselves in the League of Legends Championship Series, and the question is, can they do it? Who will become the victor here, and who will go through to face Fnatic in the semi-finals of this $100,000 spring playoff? As it is at the moment, Godbro, well, they let him on Shen, and sure enough, he performs once again. 4-1-4, just equaling the stats that he had last week. And really, he was just godlike on Shen, and that living up to his name. He's going to be able to take the turret down here. Wicked's going aggressive, but I'm not sure this is the right move. He's going to bounce all over towards Godbro, puts the Ignite down, tries to turn it back around. I would not pursue him towards that bush, and Wicked, yeah, he's unsure of his ability right now, whether he can fight Godbro.
So Wicked burned everything in that particular engagement. He almost got Godbro down. What it means now is the rest of the Wolves have got position on Baron here, and they're thinking about it. Instead, they're going to roll back. Godbro, once he's gone back to base and healed up, he may join a fight with Stand United. Look at the Wolves coming in from behind. Svenskeren's picked the fight.
They're going to see the ultimate coming across. He's landed on Yellow Peep, but he didn't knock anyone else up, so maybe a little bit wasted. Snoopy getting absolutely destroyed. Chain of Corruption bounces across every single member of Evil Genius's. Fantastic work there. It's a beautiful, beautiful play from the Test. Intervention on towards Froggen. It's only going to hold him alive for a little bit longer. Wicked going down. He'd already been hurt from that last fight. It's a double kill picked up by Bjergsen. They're chasing on towards Godbro. Yellow Pete now. Yellow Pete's going to get caught out. He's going to go down. It's the Test that picks up the kill, and it's going to be a triple kill as well for Bjergsen. Fantastic play. It's an ace for Copenhagen Wolves. They're going to turn and burn towards the Baron.
Copenhagen Wolves knew that Let's Bounce was not available. They knew that if Wicked wanted to join a fight, he'd either be low on hit points, or he'd have no ultimate. And you've seen how big of an impact that was in the team fight. He had absolutely zero presence in that fight. They lost Godbro early, but it doesn't matter because the Tess and Bjergsen managed to chase for the entirety of that engagement. You've seen right at the end there that Wicked tried to jump to safety with a slingshot, and the Wraiths were actually killing him. They're delaying for Godbro to get Baron. That is the level of communication that the Wolves have right now. They knew they had the advantage. They forced the fight. They even delayed it to get a 5-man Baron. Fantastic play out of them.
So 14-6 now. Copenhagen Wolves, huge advantages here. They have 8,000 gold, and they also have the Baron. So frankly, they are in the dominant driving position. And I'm going to see, really, what Evil Geniuses can do about this one. The first game was very, very tight. This one is being dominated by the Wolves. If they were to take this to 1-1, the confidence boost that would give the Wolves and a little bit of demoralizing kick it would give Evil Geniuses could well be enough to shunt them into the third game.
The Copenhagen Wolves, they're no longer the underdogs going, nipping at the ankles. They're going for the jugular now for EG. Because of the team fights and the presence that they have, as soon as they start to take a stranglehold on this map, they will be able to close it out. To talk about what we said earlier, though, Wicked did say he was anticipating a 2-1. Wicked felt that being on the blue side was the determining factor against a team like the Wolves, and we'll see if that comes to pass. And Godbro, he's picked another fight with Wicked.
And then Wicked does not want this fight. Godbro showed in the last fight, even with the turret against him, he is much, much stronger, and Wicked forced to bounce away from that one.
Look at the middle lane, though. The rest of the Wolves, the three of them, they've shoved down the turret up in the top lane. Bjergsen is forcing down the top inner turret. They are playing the split push strategy that we see out of Fnatic, with an assassin-type champion, with some supportive-type champions. They got 2 turrets in the last 10 seconds, and that is great positional play. They might get a third.
They will get a third because the rest of the team are rotating around towards the top. Bjergsen doesn't need any help, though. He's going to take it himself, and that is fantastic use of the Baron already from the Copenhagen Wolves. 10,000 gold advantage now, and well, Evil Geniuses, they need to sit and farm this one out, but you can see Copenhagen Wolves, they're not going to allow it. They're pushing in towards the inhibitor turret.
Bjergsen is going to be able to just rift walk to safety there from the toss from Volibear, and you can see the split pushing coming out on the bottom lane. The Peke cam will be renamed to the Godbro cam for the time being. So great play out of them, and if he joins the fight with Stand United, that will of course play into their favor. One thing we have to give props to right now is Deficio's Lulu. 0-0-13 right now. Out of his team's 14 kills, he's been involved in 13 of them, and he's just playing so well. They get the bottom inner turret, and all of a sudden EG are defending on the steps of their inhibitors.
Well, you can see in the mid lane here, they're pushing the damage down. They're trying to catch on towards Bjergsen, but he doesn't matter. Chain of Corruption comes out, and they catch straight back on towards him. Snoopy, the intervention comes out from Froggen, but he's going to be off the Shadow Dash. Catches 4 members of Evil Geniuses, and they are getting melted right now. Bjergsen comes in, he gets flipped, but he doesn't care because he's already picked up a double kill for the Test. It's going to be an ace and a triple kill for the Test. Absolutely sublime performance from the Copenhagen Wolves there on the turret. So well played by the Godbro. What a Shadow Dash.
The test didn't even use barrier. He wasn't under pressure that entire fight. Godbro hit 2 Shadow Dash taunts, a 4-man, followed by the game-closing one. We even see Bjergsen recalling and teleporting back with full HP, with more items. They're going to finish out the game here in fantastic style. What a team fight from the Wolves. It is coming down to the decider, D-Man. Who is going to win this one?
What a game. The Copenhagen Wolves there, they said it at the start. Evil geniuses do not want to allow Kassadin through. 7-1-6 Bjergsen, proving why. But honestly, for me, it was Godbro once again on Shen. That man is unstoppable when you let him through on Shen. And what a fantastic performance.